The popularity of kart racers can't be denied, and who could complain? Yeah, it's true that many of them are about as fun as being force-fed a cactus, but when they're good, they can be some of the most enjoyable games to just pick up and play. It's the simplicity and general appeal of something like Mario Kart that makes it such a popular game to play with loved ones. Or in my case, completely isolated and in pitch darkness. But of course, with so many successful kart racers sitting in the light, there's bound to be a few of them thrown to the shadows of obscurity. And maybe I might find that hidden gem I've been hoping for. So, here's the contender. S.C.A.R.S, which stands for Super Computer Animal Racing Simulator. Yes, that's right. Supercomputer Animal Racing Simulator. Wow. This could be interesting. S.C.A.R.S, developed by Vivid Image and published by Ubisoft, was released in 1998 for the N64, PlayStation and PC. I bought the PlayStation version a couple of years back because, I don't know, I felt like it. I actually remember quite a bit about this game from when I last played it, but weirdly I really can't recall whether the game was any good or not. I think I remember enjoying it, yet I also think it really pissed me off too, namely in its difficulty. Well, I guess the only way to find out for sure is by playing, and who knows, maybe this obscure title is far better than I remembered. Or not, judging by the story. Yeah, that's right, story. It takes place in the year 3000. 9 supercomputers have surpassed the intelligence of their human creators and have gained complete control over the world. These machines have become so powerful, so smart, so much like us mortals, that they have developed many of our characteristics and emotions, such as fear, hatred, happiness, even boredom. So then they all make a racing game with animal-themed cars and beat the shit out of each other. Yeah, it's no Diddy Kong Racing in terms of its story, and that comparison was in terms of kart racers. But it's not like it matters. If I didn't have the manual, then I'd have no idea why this is even happening. The plot is never even referenced in the game itself, so I basically just wasted our time. Anyway, to the game itself. So, upon booting up, we see a short opening sequence. And damn, I sure should have been on that list. Ugh, really? What's the point of a 50-second intro that just shows some random cars racing and exploding, and yeah, it's completely pointless. I'm not even going to waste my time with it. So, menus are simple, but nice. From here we can see the different modes to play. There's the standard single player Grand Prix, versus mode for people with friends, time attack and challenge mode. It's all pretty self-explanatory, minus challenge mode. In challenge mode, as you progress through the different Grand Prix tournaments, you unlock challenge races. In these, you'll race against a new car, and if you win, you unlock said car. Pretty simple. And yes, there are multiple cars, 9 in total, with 4 unlocked for challenge mode. And yes, they do all have their own stats and handle differently, and yes, they're all designed after your stereotypical cool animals, like lions and sharks. Well, fair enough. I assume a rhino would be better at racing than a badger. Well... Anyway, I physically can't show you what the multiplayer is like, and I never bother with unnecessary time trials. And, as can be guessed, the challenges for new animals is entirely optional, so I'll only be playing Grand Prix mode here. To let you know, I did briefly try the other modes, and yes, they're exactly what you'd expect, so I'm sure I don't need to explain how a time trial works. Anyway, in the Grand Prix, there are 5 cups in total: Carbon, Crystal, Diamond and Zenith, and Custom, each one respectively getting harder. Oh, and Custom Cup is just whatever. Choose tracks, how many, what order, basically invent your own tournament. Always nice to have something like that. Anyway, once all is ready, it's time to begin. But I gotta say, I love the introduction to the tracks. Usually it's just a bird's eye view or a camera swirl towards the racers, but here, when each race begins, you can see a wireframe flat out and then rise to form the track's layout. The colours then spread to form the track's appearance, and as the camera centres behind the player, the background loads into existence. My goodness, it's such a smooth, awesome way to start the race. As you can probably tell, because it's set in a computer simulation, a lot of the game uses this wireframe look. You probably noticed this in the menus, and it appears on the pedestals at the end of a cup too. It's a really good way to start each race, and it helps to keep the visual theming consistent. Oh, okay, the first race in Carbon Cup has begun, and as I dive into the first race, I really need to say wow. This game's presentation is fantastic. The colours are bright and contrast well, the graphics are sharp, for PS1, the lighting effects are really nice and the backdrops are beautiful. But what I love here is the visual set pieces, like the bridges hanging over the track, the waterfalls and the houses. Thanks to these little details, each track looks and feels very unique and varied, yet they all feel connected too from this overlapping theme of a computer simulation. Oh, and I also need to praise the multiple weather types. Though nothing new for a racer, S.C.A.R.S handles it pretty well. In total, there are 4 weather types, being daytime, evening, midnight and raining. Each one makes the tracks feel completely different. The rain looks good, the evening lighting is really peaceful, and night times are surprisingly the best. It's harder to see the track, yes, but that only makes it more interesting, I think. Thanks to Circle activating a headlight, you can see enough of the track to know what's ahead. It makes the level seem far more atmospheric, and it really shows off just how good this game's lighting is. I also adore the little details, how like any source of light on the track is noticeable, such as these torches and streetlights. So yeah, all in all, these visuals are just so goddamn good, I really can't say anything less. The audio is good too, but nowhere near as impressive. The music is that 90s techno, trance, rock sort of music, the type that these games from this era were very accustomed to. I'm sure you'll know what I mean. It's good, but not memorable at all, and pretty stock. The same goes for the sound effects. There's some satisfying bashes and blasts for using the weapons and hitting things. Also good, but also nothing special. Oh, and I can't forget the voice acting. Yeah, the cars can talk. And Christ, all they can say is "yeah" in different pitches. It gets annoying fast, and why do they all have to sound like a bootleg Sonic? Yeah. Anyway, Carbon was harder than I thought. I still won, but look by how much. I got first on all 3 races and I'm this far ahead. Seems that surpassing the top of the board is difficult here. Well, we'll just have to see. Crystal Cup is up next. Anyway, I guess I should bring up gameplay. For a kart racer, gameplay is what really needs to be good. Firstly, the controls. In a game like this, good controls are vital, and good is an understatement here. What I love about them is how they don't try to be like other kart racers of the time. They almost feel realistic, yet they're far from it. The controls have a really nice weight to them. They almost have this bouncy suspension feel, heavy but not cumbersome. They're responsive, tight, and feel almost exactly how they look. They're just really damn good. I also commend the jump button. Most kart racers with a jump button mainly use it for just getting into a quick turn or drift, but here, it certainly is a jump, like Olympic pole jumping, but with a car. Anyway, yeah, jumping. It's great for avoiding certain obstacles, or just avoiding collision with a driver you may have shot down. Drifting feels loose and quite manoeuvrable, yet not very sharp. Well, to be fair, the tracks don't have terribly sharp corners anyway, so it's not really a problem. Reversing is fast, steering is good, it's just all damn good. But what about the gameplay itself? Well, it's just your standard kart racer. Weapons, shortcuts, all that stuff. But what makes this game really stand out for me is the weapon system. It's easily one of my favourites. In total, you can hold 2 weapons at once, switching between them with R2. But slightly similar to Diddy Kong Racing, each weapon has different levels of power, but not based on how many you collected, but how long you charged them for. Every weapon can be charged for a more effective use, yet this adds a slight element of strategy, as for not charging a weapon means that you'll probably have more uses of it. This strategic play is also helped by the simple fact that you can shoot behind yourself. Yeah, I know many kart racers do this, but combined with the charging, weapons and how to use them becomes surprisingly tactical. Do you use the weapon to try hinder those ahead of you, or do you use it to defend from those behind you? Do you need the full charge or multiple quick uses? I really love the system, and it's made even better by the weapons themselves. They're mostly what you'd expect, but some are pretty inventive. There's the homing ones, barriers, boosts, shields, shots, these awesome boomerangs that stay until someone is close enough, and my favourite, the pass the parcel of death, as I've adapted to calling it. It's simple. Pick it up, use it, someone else has it. Whoever has it when the timer goes down takes a hit. It can put more tension in the races and adds a bit more to keep track of. Ideally, send it to someone when it's got about 3 seconds left and enjoy making them hate you. The weapons are really fun to use and help the gameplay further, along with the controls and track design. And speaking of tracks, yeah. Though not close to being as good as the weapons or controls, the tracks are all very differently themed and have many shortcuts and different ways to go about them. None of the shortcuts really make the track seem that different, but they still have their uses. The layout of the tracks isn't really memorable though, mainly because there aren't any set pieces or parts of the track that break the very linear structure. And like I said, what? Okay, so I only get to fail 3 times before completely failing the cup. Man, that's pretty rough. I'm starting to remember what pissed me off in this game. The difficulty. Well, I guess I just need to get some more practice. Anyway. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, as I said earlier, there are shortcuts, but they're in plain sight, and there's only ever one at a time, making a single break in the path the only real non-linearness. It's not bad, just kinda boring, and not really worth having. The weapon placement works quite well though, with better weapons being in places that are harder or less likely to be reached. Something that you may notice also is how the cars are somewhat large compared to most other kart racers, but the tracks are designed to have wide parts to make manoeuvring and overtaking far easier than you'd expect. There are some parts that aren't as wide, but I think it's good not to have it all the same. Otherwise, I'm sure that the game would be nearly as boring as anything I do or say, or basically just me. Overall, the course design is okay. It's not even close to Diddy Kong Racing or Mario Kart, but it does its job. I guess while I'm here talking about the tracks, one other thing that really impressed me was the draw distance. I'll be honest, I find draw distances in PS1 games really charming. It's something that anyone who has played a few games from this time will be familiar with, and it led to a lot of innovative techniques. There's something about it that makes some games seem oddly mysterious. I really like it myself, but in S.C.A.R.S, it's very unnoticeable, presumably due to how the levels often hide parts of the track ahead with visuals, aka how the track is structured. But either way, I was impressed by how little I noticed, considering how much is on screen. Good work. You did much better here than having 4 laps per race. That's defying one of the most basic racing game instincts. You don't know the pain of finishing the 3rd lap, putting down the controller to relax, then having everyone else middle finger you as they charge ahead. Well, I'm just thankful I was able to make it past the 2nd cup. Barely. And on to the 3rd, Diamond. But, first race and I'm already out? Christ, this could take a long time. So, I guess this segues on to my next point, as awkwardly as me with any human interaction, but I should come back to this game's difficulty. Dear God, this game can be friggin' brutal. Out of the 4 cups, I only managed to get the first 2 done, and even then, I had to try pretty hard to get through Crystal. I know I've only been playing this for about 4 hours, and maybe I just need more practice, but I'm doing all I can, and I just can't make it through Diamond. Shit, I don't even want to imagine what Zenith is like. Even challenge mode is vicious. I've only unlocked Scorpion, the very first unlockable car. Well, I think I've worked out what makes this so hard. The track design. Though I've been saying it's okay up until now, I honestly think it's starting to be my bane. My problem, I think, is down to how a lot of the corners are in these later tracks. Previously, getting around them was little a problem, but now, there's far more in sequence and they are far tighter turns. But earlier, how I said the drifting felt loose. Well, in the earlier tracks it was fine because they kept that in mind and didn't make the bends too right angled, but now, it's incredibly hard to make a sharp turn. These turning controls really aren't designed for sharp corners. I either go smacking into a wall, smacking into someone else, or just drifting too much and everyone else overtakes, because this is one of those games where you need to brake and turn to drift, often slowing you down and letting the rest overtake. It's way too easy to just accidentally brake in the middle of a turn. Like, the PS1 has enough buttons, why not just have a separate drift button? Seriously, it's such a problem. Some tracks are a strain to attempt because of this damn drifting. You just spend most of the course pinballing all over the place, and you know, it wouldn't be a problem if the tracks were wider at the corners, like the earlier stages. Now, they may appear fine, but another incredibly noticeable flaw is the collision. Look here, it would seem I have this space to help around the corner, but no. Trying to go around the corners is made even worse by this, and most of the corners are like this. Yes, I know there has to be boundaries, but they also need to be noticeable. These things make the latter half of the game really frustrating, which is a shame because there is so much good with this game that's ultimately brought down by this one little, yet very damaging problem. Apart from this, it's a damn solid kart racer, not near one of the best, but still good. Anyway, let's just try to get this over with so I can go sleep or something. I'm sorry, but I really can't get this damn Diamond Cup done. Granted, I do like that you can earn extra points for gaining a good score in the race, or finishing in record time. I think it's a mechanic that makes the Grand Prix a bit fairer, and I think more racers should do something like this to spice up the tally system. Though, considering that first position scores 10, while second scores a far lower 6, I don't think anything can really help to make it fairer. It's such a demanding amount of effort, like, you can't just scrape through a victory, you can only win if it's by a considerable margin of firsts. Like here, it's only 2 out of 7 races, and look how far ahead number 1 is. And it's even worse considering that you can only proceed to the next track if you enter in the top 3, so why even have points for the other places? Ugh. And remember, only 3 chances before completely failing the cup. Yeah, that's it. I know when I'm beat. Fuck it. I'm being that guy. So, in conclusion, S.C.A.R.S is a good kart racer. Yeah, that's all. Visuals are great, audio's not bad, controls are good, gameplay's fun, but the track designers really needed to have some talks with whoever made these controls, because they really don't work together. With its minor flaws ironed out, it would be a fantastic game, but its problems show. Overall, it's a fun kart racer, with great gameplay and a clear amount of effort gone into it. However, the track design and controls don't feel like they were made for each other, and the experience as a whole suffers because of it. That, or I'm just too impatient to get any better at the game. If this looks good to you, go give it a go. It's really common, and not to mention, fun, rewarding, easy to pick up, and controls really smoothly. It's worth the small entry fee, just for the weapon system. I'd love to see a game with this sort of diverse weapon system come out again. I think a lot of people would praise it too. However, this game may be obscure, but it's no legend. It's just a PlayStation 1 kart racer. Nothing more to say. So, out of ignore, try, and buy, I would give it my recommendation of try. I definitely like it, but its flaws stick out like a sore, blistered thumb. Just like mine in this goddamn cold. Alright, I need to go sleep now. By a fire. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly enjoyed making it. Whatever you do today, I hope it goes well, and I'll see you whenever I see you again. Or if I even do. Whatever. And now, I leave you with this badass credit music. Later.